Hola amigos, bienvenidos a otro episodio de Jack Daniels presenta Pili, Raúl en La Música y súper emocionado porque esta vez estamos conectando con México en the R&B songstress Girl Ultra.
La pasamos divino con muchos de los fans de Girl Ultra de todas partes del mundo y recuerda que tú también puedes ser parte de estos eventos especiales que hacemos una vez al mes a través de Jack Daniels presenta Pili, Raúl en La Música Virtual. Son pláticas y entrevistas que hacemos con tus artistas latinos favoritos and you can ask them questions. They also perform for us y por supuesto Raúl y yo los entrevistamos. So check this episode out con Girl Ultra ahora en Jack Daniels presenta Pili, Raúl and La Música. You know, for those of you who are joining us, welcome again to Pili, Raúl en La Música, presented by Jack Daniels. This is our virtual event. We do this once a month with a very special artist. Pili, Raúl en La Música is a bilingual podcast, and we focus on Latin music, especially Latin alternative music. We want to support those up-and-coming artists or those already established artists that are not super mainstream, that we feel have a super strong voice, but traditional media doesn't necessarily support them all the time. We want to create a space where these artists can actually tell their story and talk to us about the creative process, the ups and downs of being in the industry, and we get a better sense of who these artists are. Así que bienvenidos nuevamente.
Thank you for having me, Pili and Raúl, for real.
We're so excited to have you.
Hola.
Yeah.
Yes, very excited to have you. We've been big fans of your music for quite some time, so welcome, bienvenida.
Yeah, as you know, Raúl is a DJ for KCRW, and I'm currently, I have a show on a station called Fun for Life Radio on Dash Radio, and both Raúl plays your music on KCRW, and I play your music on Dash, so big supporters.
Muchas gracias. I really do appreciate that.
Pues antes de empezar, hay que darle un fuerte aplauso virtual a nuestro amigo y semi-third co-host of Pili, Raúl La Música for these virtuals, Jose Vargas in the house.
I'll take it.
Mira, you have applauses. People already know you.
Pues que onda todos. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Pili, Raúl La Musica. It's my pleasure to be here with you all and with our special guest, Girl Ultra. Big fan, and wanted to start things off by showing how to make a cocktail inspired by Girl Ultra. So today we're going to make a cocktail called Dame Love. So I wanted to kind of use something a little bit colorful, really popped, but still really smooth to kind of go along with her sound. Today we're going to be using Jack Daniels Single Barrel Select. If you guys haven't seen this bottle before, same family as Jack Daniels, same process, same ingredients. The difference is that this bottle is going to be higher proof. It's 94 proof versus 80 proof. And it comes from one single barrel. So it has more bold flavors. It has more whiskey flavors, more caramel, more oak, more smokiness. And when you're making a cocktail that has a lot of ingredients, you want to kind of use a whiskey that's a little bit stronger and has those flavors so that doesn't get lost in the recipe. First things first, we're going to start off with a shaker. We're going to grab a fresh strawberry. Put it into your shaker, and you want to muddle it to kind of get all the juices out of it and kind of get all the fibers out. Machacarlo, right? As we learned a few episodes ago, that's the word. I never knew how to say it in Spanish. Machacar la fresa. We're going to do 3/4 ounce or a little bit less than a small side of a jigger of fresh squeezed lime juice, real limes. Next, we're going to do 3/4 ounce, same thing, of agave syrup.
I got agave nectar.
It's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't know the difference.
Tomato, it's like sparkling soda versus seltzer water, right? Or mineral water. Okay, next, we are going to do 2 ounces of Single Barrel Select Jack Daniels.
Getting crazy, Jose.
And those who know me know
It's
that
Friday.
when he says 2 ounces, it means 2.5 for Pili.
Right. We're going to just kind of put a couple dashes, little drops of Angostura bitters, just to kind of give it some pop. And next we got...
Are bitters supposed to be shaken before you actually...
No. If you have a bottle laying around for like a year or something, you want to shake it up before you use it, but no.
Okay.
All right. We want to put some ice into our shaker. So we're going to shake it up and blend all these ingredients together. All right. We're going to put the top of our shaker on, and we're going to shake it.
Huele rico.
If you have a strainer, I use a strainer. You don't have to have a strainer, but I am going to use a strainer. So I don't know if you guys can see the color from there. I'll get the drink close.
Yeah, it looks lovely.
Right? So you guys see the color? It's not done yet. Yeah. You want to put a little bit, like a top off of ginger beer. Any ginger beer will do.
I got some right here. Do we top it off completely?
No. Just a little splash.
Okay.
And I mean, if you want to be fancy about it, a little garnish.
You know, it looks like the sunset from the video from Dame
Right?
Love.
And this is a Dame Love inspired by our guest today, Girl Ultra.
Thank you.
Cheers, guys.
Look at that.
That looks so nice.
Well, Salud, everybody.
Cheers, everybody.
Salud.
Saludcita.
Clink.
Ching, ching.
Woo.
That is tasty, Jose.
Right?
You were right. I did like
very
it.
much.
That's very
Guys,
yummy.
you gotta tell me, does it taste like the song right now that you're like sipping on it? ¿Sabe a la
I mean,
canción?
Screams Dame Love.
I was listening to it while I was, trying to research and develop and coming up with some couple different concoctions for you. So I would say it does.
Thank you.
I taste a little bit of cuco in there. I taste a little.
Right?
Yeah, he's
Cuco
pretty
spice.
tasty. He's pretty tasty. All right. Welcome, everybody. Bienvenidos. And very excited because Mariana de Miguel, better known as Girl Ultra, is our guest for this episode of Jack Daniels Presenta Pili, Raul, and La Musica. And countless EPs, countless singles, has a brand new full length. And we are very excited to welcome Girl Ultra. How are you doing?
Thank you.
¿Cómo estás? Bienvenida.
Gracias. I'm doing good. Been taking not the year off, but no sé, mi mente está calmada. I've been making a lot of music. I've been a little bit quiet out there, pero good things are coming, and I'm excited.
Well, we're definitely excited to hear what's going to be new in 2021 for Girl Ultra. But in the meantime, let's get to know you a little bit more. You didn't really have like a formal musical formation growing up. However, your parents were music lovers, right? How did you go from loving music to actually becoming a musician?
I feel like life just moved me throughout some situations that led me to being a musician and a songwriter. I don't know, like I fell in love with music when my father used to play like Ennio Morricone, and then it was very eclectic. And then, I don't know, Etta James, and then Caifanes. Like there was my dad never had musical boundaries. And that made me like gain a musical conscience. I come from a family of painters. Like all my dad's side, they are painters. And there's nobody that is a musician, like not by career. I always had like this inquietud. Tenía esta inquietud de crear y de hacer. Yo también pinto. Pero cuando aprendí a componer mi primera canción, even though it was very shitty, I felt something. I felt like this intense gut feeling that nothing else compares to that feeling. So I just cling to that ever since. Like I had a band in high school, and a lot of musical friends came from that band. But I just left high school and started making the thing happen seriously. Like eat, sleep, make music, repeat.
So I got to ask you, did you know it was shitty when you wrote it, or did you recognize it was shitty now that you have a little bit more experience?
No, of course not. To me, it was the best song in the world.
All right, which one of your friends do you need to call out and say like, girl, I don't know about this one? Which one's the one that told you?
About the song, I never showed it to anyone. I kept it to myself. I wrote that song about a guy named Toño. That was also my first kiss. If you're watching this, Toño, fuck you. No. It was my first. It was a kiss. It was a bad kiss, but I was very private with my sharing. Even with my paintings and everything, I was always very private. And when I started growing up and meeting musical friends, being able to go to concerts and everything, it started to shape a little bit more. It was like a path in my life.
Yeah. Speaking of friends, todos somos amigos aquí, so we get to call you Nan, which is what most people call you, friends and people in the industry. But what's the biggest difference between Mariana de Miguel and Girl Ultra?
First, I thought there were a lot of differences, and Girl Ultra was kind of an alter ego, but not really, like I've been noticing a lot of similarities between us. And I feel like Girl Ultra is like the creator and the observer, the hands of everything and the mind. And Girl Ultra is the vessel. I'm a pretty shy person normally, but when I'm Girl Ultra, it just comes out. I'm the vessel for the message. So I feel like we complement each other.
So you've dabbled with English and Spanish, even though you do mostly Spanish. But with like Damelo, for example, you did some English. What benefits do you think you've been able to kind of like exploit by being bilingual, by being a bilingual musician?
I feel like the more tools you have to connect with people, it's better. Like I'm all about aiming connections. Like even in my normal life, in like Nan's and Mariana's life every day, it's just pretty nice to be able to have a conversation in another cultural context. I feel like musically it just opens up the path of many things. Like I grew up watching stuff in English and cartoons and reading in English, and I don't know, it just feels like there's more information you can consume when you know another language.
Speaking of like how you started making music, doing it on your own and trying to get everything figured out, then there was this record company that came into effect out of Monterrey called Finesse Records. But it's always seems like it's been kind of DIY, do it yourself, figure it out on your own. And how did that really kind of take shape when you were making music?
Well, the whole do it yourself has always been in my life, even though we're on a label. Because, I mean, even though we have a lot of like access to a lot of stuff and places and I don't know, connections, we try to keep it in house. Everything has been teamwork since the beginning. I remember like before we started making and nurturing this project, we became friends and we believe in everybody's work. And I feel like that I don't know, we have the hunger for learning in finesse especially, and a lot of people has been here in and out, and I don't know, I feel like it's como una mini escuela, like this was my university kind of. And I just try to keep myself updated and learning, because even though I never went to college, I still study and read and everything. I ask a lot of questions. Like I'm a question girl.
You're very curious.
I'm very curious in a good way. Well, sometimes in a bad way, but I'm very curious. Pero sí, de eso se trata. O sea, siempre he sido esa persona que pregunta todo y I try to listen.
So, talking about like educating yourself and being curious, we know that you've participated in a lot of writing camps. What benefits do you get from being in such camps? And maybe, you should explain to a lot of people who are listening who might not know what a writing camp is.
Bueno, un writing camp es a lot of people gathering, mucha gente juntándose in the same room or in the same space, en el mismo lugar, trying to make songs, not specifically for anyone. They just make a lot of shit. Hacen muchas canciones, se juntan entre todos y sometimes they come out, algunas salen, otras no. I don't know, it can become a pretty magical place. What I took from those places, because I've been in very different camps, like very reggaeton and Mexican music and regional and everything. And I've been in R&B in Los Angeles, like a lot of genres, a lot of different people that come from different cultural context and connecting with people. And it's not a safe ground stepping into somebody else's world. And that's what I like. Sometimes you create stuff that probably you never would have created because of your artist ego, because everybody's got an artist ego and it's pretty difficult to just like knock it off. And I don't know, like I feel like when you make music for somebody else, everything seems clearer, and that's what I like about that.
Well, you started with covers back in the day when you first started putting out music, but then, obviously going to some of these writing camps and starting to write your own lyrics. When did you make that transition to doing some of your own work?
I've always wanted to do my own work. I was pretty weird about like putting it out since I didn't know anything about the music business back then. So one of my bandmates with bass, and back then he helped me like, hey dude, like just release it on SoundCloud. And then afterwards it came, I got signed by David. Like he introduced me to David to Infinite Records, and I started learning like the whole music business thing and how to do it by myself and with people. But I've always been very private about my words and what I say, because I am a composer. Like it's pretty hard to just like sing somebody else's words sometimes, even though I love co-writing. Like having somebody else's vision to just like bounce it back and forth, I really love it. But I don't know, I've just been like perfecting and learning from my writing, and sometimes I have to learn to like tirarlo a la basura. Like this doesn't work, I'm gonna finish this song, but I know it's not gonna work, and probably the next one is gonna be like a derivation, como una derivación of that song, and probably that one is gonna work, and probably not, and the third one maybe. Like it's, I don't know, it's trial and error like ever since.
And you know, you mentioned like ego, and because like you said, every artist has an ego, every human being has an ego, period. But you know, especially being in the spotlight, you have to deal with certain insecurities, you know, and even certain struggles finding your own sound. So what struggles have you gone through to find your unique sound, and what insecurities do you deal with, and how do you overcome them?
Insecurities every single time, girl. Every time I step into the booth, I really respect the microphone. I got so much respect for it. And sometimes it's not the day, you know, or it's not like the words or the song, but sometimes it is. It just clicks. It's a roller coaster. Like I try to stay away from things that mess with my mind daily, like everything that makes like anxiety pop. I just try to stay away and try to stay calm and in my best self. I try to find my best self and help my mind to just create and nurture these ideas and everything that comes out. I try to stay healthy, and I feel like that helps a lot for like insecurities, and like they don't go away forever, but I feel like that helps.
Is this kind of like a way to like challenge yourself into writing different songs and different styles?
Yeah, kind of. I used to like to get into particular situations just to get more like material to write.
Wait. We need to get specific. What kind of situations?
Mama.
Yeah, because there's songs like Lejos, Adiós, Ruleta.
Ella, tú y yo.
They speak about personal relationships. You know, we hear your story in your songs. You know, is it difficult to write about this stuff?
And not to write about that, to revisit. When like touring existed back in the day, like there are a couple of songs that I really don't want to sing anymore, or they do not represent me anymore sometimes. And some others, like I can find a new meaning, to that. I feel like they're ever shifts. They shift forever. Like sometimes you come back to a song that you made 3 years ago, and that's not really you at the moment, but I don't know, you feel like you can hug yourself from back then, and like it's part of you. I feel like you shouldn't carry like the stories in your songs in your back like every day.
Yeah, like carry them forever. Although that's very interesting. Like I had never thought about it that way, but I guess you're right. Like certain songs that you wrote at that specific moment meant so much, and you could relate to them de tantas maneras, and then like time passes and you've healed from that, or you've overcome that, and then when you sing it, it might not be with the same attachment to the song, but you still have to make it work for your audience. I mean,
yeah, that's why Girl Ultra needs to be the vessel. You need to revisit that feeling in that same moment, in the first chord of the song, you're on the stage or whatever, and you have to revisit, or even like making a little mimics and acting, and what makes this song special for me right now, or try to fit in somehow in your persona at the moment. There's some songs that I really don't want to play, girl. Like I have a couple ones that no, thank you.
That can stay in the vault,
yeah,
right?
Definitely. Yeah.
Well, I know you're kind of like a self-proclaimed observer also of like people and your environment, but what else do you look to inspire your music and what you write about and what you like to perform?
Conversations, like random conversations I have with strangers. Because I'm a very people person, even though I'm shy. Like I really like looking into people's eyes and listening to stories, and like an Uber driver's story that he told me in a 15-minute drive became a song. Like I just try to put everything in. But I don't know. I'm trying to look into your souls from here. I kind of
Yes.
see a little. Puedo ver un poquito.
Ooh, I like that.
You're a total
looking into
voyeur.
her
That's what it is. Because she's a total voyeur.
I feel naked now. So one thing that I absolutely appreciate and respect about you is that you're breaking the boundaries of what música latina sounds like, you know? Like there are not a lot of R&B musicians latinos out there. Y no hay muchas mujeres. And I love the fact that you kind of are becoming that, you know? What is it about R&B music and that genre specifically that attracted you so much?
I've listened to a lot of music in my whole life. I listen to everything, but R&B, it's got like this major amount of influences all in one, and especially like in melodies, it's pretty gut feeling. It's very human. Like all of these melismatic things, I really like that about R&B, and like powerful bass lines. That's what I like the most. But I don't know, like I really like to talk about love, but I feel like in these days, like every kind of like theme can be inserted into R&B. It's just becoming more universal, you know. I feel like, for example, here in Mexico, we never really have like an R&B moment back in the day. Not even now. Like it's starting to happen right now. Like that makes me very happy. Me hace muy feliz. But I feel like R&B just infiltrated in pop music all around the world and in Mexico too. And right now I'm excited because it's starting to shape into something in my country especially. And it's so diverse. Like there's a whole spectrum of R&B in the world. I just want to give a little bit of me into that spectrum.
Very true. Very true. The R&B movement, I mean, it's been around for decades, but talk to us about the R&B movement in Mexico and in Latin America. I mean, obviously there's artists like Steve Lacy. We mentioned Cuco, Omar Apollo, but like Pili said, there's not very many females. But you go back and there's artists like Brandy, or there's, there's countless amazing, just wonderful musicians and singers. How is the movement in Mexico as far as R&B goes?
When we started Infinite Records, like starting to make R&B, there were just maybe a couple of male artists around, probably trap artists that sometimes made like a couple of R&B songs. There were no R&B playlists. Nobody knew. Everybody like used to rant me and tell me like, estás haciendo un trap horrible, de que eres la peor artista de trap de México. It's like, I'm not even doing trap. Like,
wow.
There was a lot of confusion. Wow. Había mucha confusión.
Porque crees que tal vez no reconocían ese género.
Ajá, no reconocían, entonces estaban esperando algo diferente. And like Jessie Baez started almost at the same time that I did, like probably a year before. And when we were looking at around, like it was just the two of us in Mexico. Like, how are we gonna tour? How are we gonna play? You know? And then a lot of artists started popping around. And what's very interesting is that they're concentrated in some specific cities. I'm not talking like de todos, pero like especially Mexico City, Guadalajara, Monterrey. Like each city's got like their own particular sound now. And there are like a lot of, especially what makes me very happy is that mostly they're women. And they're starting to find their own personalities, and everybody's starting to feel like very different from each other. And I really want to see how I always think about how to help, you know, how to really make this a movement. Because whenever there's like a happening, like a musical happening in history, it's got to be in teamwork. You know, it's not just one artist that just pops around. And you know, I really like to think in a very vintage way. And I feel like I really want to create community, and I feel like everybody does. I hope we can get together soon. Like, I would really love to do a camp with all of these girls, and they can teach me and I can give them what I know. And I don't know, we can just like bounce information. I feel like that's always that was always missing. Siempre hizo falta en la ciudad, like creating teamwork, hacer trabajo en equipo y realmente a real community.
Power
Yeah.
numbers is a big thing.
Definitely.
And I mean, even like a little bit of the throwback sound that I'm starting to hear. Like you guys are taking it back almost kind of to that New Jack vibe and that New Jack sound that like people like Teddy Riley and those people did back in the 80s here in LA.
I fetishize the 80s so much. Like a lot of my friends hate me because of that. But girl, like what's so special for me about the 80s, because I really take a lot of influence from back then, is I feel like it was the last era where humanity had a future, like an uncertain future. Like people, they were imaginaban como los carros iban a volar or whatever, like all of these technological advances, and everything was so bright. And I feel like that particular nostalgia encapsulated in that era. And then in the 90s, everything was darker because, I don't know, like they really ya sabían que iba a pasar en 10 años, en 20 años. So, I don't know, I feel like it was the last glimpse of isolation. I always recall that whenever I'm writing a song or melodies. I like to have like this fake feeling that I'm living in the 80s just for a second because of that.
I love that. I mean, I'm such an 80s fan to the point where I was born and raised in Puerto Rico, and which is an island in the Caribbean, extremely warm, and I would use leg warmers.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Yeah, a ese punto, o sea, hasta el fashion de los 80s, I would... Actually, there's a really cool... I should post this on a Throwback Thursday. There's a really cool photo shoot for a magazine, for a local magazine, that Raquel from Buscabulla and we were on the cover of the magazine, and we were both wearing leg warmers.
Nice. I love Raquel. Shout out to Buscabulla.
I know you want to do a collaboration with them. I don't know. We have someone in common called Paul Dryden that might be here tonight, that might be making that possible.
I think he's in the house. I think he's in the house.
Yeah.
So big shout to
Paul?
Paul Dryden, who's
Shout out.
he's helped a lot with a lot of the artists that we've gotten on Pili, Raul La Musica, including Buscabulla, including you, Girl Ultra. So thank you, Nan, and thank you, Paul, for making this happen. But yeah, I mean, when you talk about that kind of like throwback 80s sound, it's cool, but how do you make it translate to lyrics in Spanish? Because there's certain kind of melodies and certain kind of formation of the way the R&B sound has come around, but then you flip it into Spanish and it's like, wow, it's just mind-blowing.
Como que there's like a different cadence, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's been a challenge. I feel like that was the biggest challenge for my project. Just trying to fit, because you need, like, to complete an idea in Spanish, you need a lot of words. But if it works, it's beautiful. Like, Spanish language is hermoso. And trial and error, guys. Like, trial and error. Because you don't want to sound too cheesy. But I got very inspired by boleros and music in Spanish that I really listen to. Even Yuri and, like, pop in Spanish. Like, how they, like, chop the words and everything. Because ideas in English are easy to say. Like, with very few words, you can say a lot. But in Spanish, you actually have to, like, to deconstruct the idea. So it's just trying to find that formula again and again and again. And there are words that doesn't sound good, and words that I don't know, like they have a pretty warm pronunciation. So it's just trying to find an identity, like a lyrical identity.
So someone commented on the chat, Inés Pacheco, she said, teamwork will always be the key. And I love that she brought that up, gracias Inés, because in a lot of interviews, Nan, you talk about teamwork, and you refer to like Finesse Records and how much they've helped you. And it's all about teamwork. And I love listening to that because it's the truth. It literally takes a village. What's your biggest lesson from working as a team, and what has been the hardest lesson? Because sometimes, again, there's egos, there's different opinions. How do you overcome those?
I'm a pretty stubborn person. I had to learn to listen, like to really listen and understand roles sometimes. Because when I got into the label, I like to write my own videos, direct, and do creative direction, like a lot of stuff. And sometimes I was like, why don't I listen to this person that's been doing this for 10 years and just listen and learn, that was the most difficult. That was a milestone. But then when I got to that point of really making space for people to, like, letting people in, I feel like that's when things started to happen, and I started to see the shape of what Girl Ultra was. I really know, like, Girl Ultra, yeah, it's a persona and it's like this female fatal and whatever, but she doesn't exist with all of these people. No existe sin mis músicos, no existe sin mi manager, no existe sin los amigos que ya no están, los amigos que me enseñaron, que ya se fueron. O sea, all of that made Girl Ultra who she is.
So in moments of doubt, like as Nan, like do you go, what would Girl Ultra do here?
I try to do that. I feel like Girl Ultra comes in some situations, like when I have to be, like, not bossy, but yeah, bossy to some asshole, like Girl Ultra comes in. And I don't know, like whenever I have to, like, ask somebody to pay me, like, pay me, bitch. Like, Girl Ultra comes in. So I feel like she's a good friend, that she's my sidekick.
I think I'm gonna start doing that. In moments of doubt, I'm gonna be like, what would Girl Ultra do?
See, so does that let you kind of like give you the freedom to be kind of a little bit of the diva? Not necessarily in a bad way, but like you can take charge, you can take control. It's like, this is the way I'm gonna do it. Because if you talk about any kind of like R&B queens, you know, somebody like Toni Braxton or anybody that you can think of, you get a little bit of that sense where it's like very empowering, and it's like, yeah, I'm gonna do it. This is the way it's gonna happen.
Thank you. I love Toni Braxton.
But I mean, like, even like Alicia Keys is known for having, you know, it's like, yeah, strong-minded, strong-willed.
Because I really don't like to get into that theme of, oh, like a girl, like mujeres en la música, de que, what are the challenges? Because, I mean, like, we got the same creative process, and yet we do face a lot of challenges. But it's pretty hard to just, like, fit into that, like, oh, like this empowered woman. Like some girls, they like to have a team, you know, and some girls like to be empowered. Not every woman in music needs to be Beyonce, you know, and that's okay. So I really love to get rid of that stereotype of, oh yeah, she's a diva and she's gotta be a diva, or she's gotta be like this reggaeton mamacita, or she's gotta be like, you know, like a lot of girls that are very like sharp with their work are not even divas and are not as flashy as a pop star, you know? And I don't know, there's a lot of strength in that also.
Mm-hmm.
I love that.
So then there's been growth, you know, from like, you know, the album Nuevos Aires shows tremendous growth and maturity from what your first singles and EPs were. But do you feel that it's kind of like a constant evolution of where you want to be in the future?
Yeah, for sure. It's like an everlasting evolution. It's gonna be forever till the day I die. And I try not to revisit my music, the music that I released, not as often as I would like to. I just like stay away from listening to my own records and everything. But I've been trying to do it these months, and I've learned a lot. Like, actually, this was very good. I could change that. I shouldn't say that. I should say this instead. So I try to learn from my past self all the time. But yeah, I feel like it was, I just puse una piedra para construir algo más. And I really like I never knew like how difficult it was to make an album and to like conceptualize and finish it. Just like finish an album. And Nuevos Aires gave me that. Like the patience and the logistics and the order to know like how to arrange my ideas for it to become something.
So, you know, you're great at collaborating, and I love that you do that. You know, you've collaborated with Cuco, Jimena Sariñana. What's been the biggest lesson for you from those collaborations? Like, who has been, I don't want to say the best collaboration because you probably can't answer that, but just like the biggest takeaway from one of those collaborations?
I feel like stepping into their own world and being respectful, but opening space to be myself. That was very hard. Like, how much of Girl Ultra can fit into this and how much Cuco can be in this song, you know? It happened very naturally because all of my collaborators were my friends before or we became very close friends. It just felt very, very natural and easy to stay in a room and have a drink and have a joint, like smoke a joint and stay together and como rascándole at like past relationships and telling ourselves stories and everything and getting to the concept of the song. And I really appreciate them like opening their own worlds for me.
But is it different when someone asks you, "Hey, do you want to collaborate with me?" versus when you ask them, "Do you want to collaborate with me?" Like, if say, for example, because we know that you've been working with Chromeo, which I'm a huge fan, and so is Raul. So we're like excited to see what that's gonna sound like.
Can't wait to hear what that is gonna sound like.
Dave and Peter were like, "Hey, come collaborate with us." You're kind of like entering their world, right? Versus if you're like, "Hey, Chromeo, collaborate with me," they're entering into your own world. So the dynamic is different, right?
Like especially with them right now, like I've been friends with Dave for a while, like friends, online friends. We've been friends for a while, and he was always very into the project. Like he was very present. Like, oh, I love this song that you made. Like, who did the mix and who plays the bass? And I love the lyrics on this one. Like he was there, and I think it was April. I don't remember. Like it was this year. He just texted me. He was like, "You gotta come now. Let's make music together." And I was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna book a flight and I'll go." And we're like I just came back from Los Angeles, and we made like a lot of like very fresh stuff from what I did before. I don't know. It was very magical. I cannot say a lot of things about this project yet, but we're gonna have a bunch of music from that de ese junte, pues.
A bunch of music.
A bunch of music.
We like that. We like a bunch. We like a bunch. A bunch is good.
Yeah, a bunch is always good.
Wow.
That's really
cannot
cool.
wait. Cannot wait. Pili, time is flying. Time is flying.
Okay, let's go into those 7 questions.
We do something kind of special here in association with Jack Daniels, who's in our presence. You know, they're old number 7, and appreciate them for supporting Música Latina. We do these 7 questions, which are rapid fire. So don't think about it too much, okay? No lo pienses mucho. Y lo primero que viene a tu mente. So, Pili, go ahead and ask that first question.
All right. What is your pre-show ritual?
I'm ashamed, but sometimes I slap my face. A couple of times.
And why?
Because I feel like I dissociate a little bit whenever I'm about to come into stage. So I just like, and I'm here again.
Wake up, get in the moment.
You know, I can kind of relate to that though. So this is a really curious dato.
It's very curious. I never told this anyone.
Yay! Exclusivo Raul La Musica.
We like that.
So when I was a little girl, and this might explain a lot now, but the only way that I could go to sleep, and this lasted until I was like 8 years old, I needed to bang my head.
Bang your head.
Against the pillow.
Okay.
So I can relate to your slapping. I don't know. It's kind of weird, right? But
it's like, es como un reset de que, Like I would actually pay somebody to slap me, like to just slap time. Not in a kinky way.
No, but that would be an interesting position. I work for Girl Ultra. Yeah, I slap her before she goes on stage. That's my job. The slapper. Okay, so before I ask the next question, this is kind of related, and I got to shout out Esteban because dice, I love Nuevos Aires so much. Will there be any physical merch, CDs, vinyls, shirts, posters? I want to support because as you can see back there, I'm a big vinyl junkie, so I can't wait to see a big record of Girl Ultra.
Thank you. I'm working on that. I'm working on a very special Nuevos Aires release. I got already merch like from the tour that I'm still selling. If you're interested, we also ship worldwide. You can go to my profile and I got the links there and everything. And yeah.
All right. All right, here's the question to you. What was your first album that somebody gave to you, that you bought, maybe you borrowed and never gave back?
I remember the first CD that I bought with my money, like grandma's money. It was it was Lizzie McGuire soundtrack.
Nice.
Oh,
Okay.
no.
All right.
It's all right.
I have that somewhere in there.
Yeah,
Somewhere in
yeah,
there.
it's
I'm
okay.
a fan of it. Yeah. That's a good one.
That's funny. Mira, Lupe says, this is going to make a great comic book. Girl Ultra and the Slapper.
And the slapper. How would the slapper look like? The slapper should be dressed.
You're the painter, girl. You're the painter. You have to show us.
I
Like-
have
like
it
me?
here. Yeah, the slapper.
All right. Okay. Question number 3. Oh, I think I know this answer. Who is your musical crush? It could be woman, man. It could be because you like them physically or you like them because of their musical talent. And they could be dead or alive.
Janet Jackson. Because
All right.
because Janet Jackson.
Janet Jackson, because it's Janet Jackson. I mean, no more explanation than that.
Yeah.
Okay. So if also somebody that's dead or alive that you are a big fan of, who would you like to have a drink with that you can sit down and chat with and really pick their brain? If there's somebody that you can have an adult beverage with.
A dame love with.
I think it would be Prince. Oh my God. Like, I feel like he would be kind of an asshole to me. He's like royalty. So I don't know if Prince.
Well, he was very reserved. So you never know. But, I'm sure you guys talk about music or something. What would you
Yeah.
ask Prince? I mean, I always think like, what would I ask somebody that I'm such a fan of without like just being totally starstruck? What would you ask Prince?
I would ask like pretty common, like daily life. Like, does he has a bath with like cold or warm water? Like, how many times that he washes his face?
Yeah, that's such a common question.
Yeah. Do you prefer bubbles or do you prefer?
Yeah, like he needs to drop the skincare routine, like on that.
All right. The 5th question would be, you've participated in a lot of music festivals. Vive Latino, I think, was the last festival that you were at, and that was this year. Any backstage anecdotes that you could share with us? It could be something that happened to you right before you got on stage, right after you got slapped, or was it, or someone that you were excited to meet, and when you met them, it went really well, or it didn't go that well, or just any backstage anecdote. Kind of like take us backstage with you.
Well, on the last tour, it wasn't very like such a happening, but it was very fun, like touring with clubs. Shout out to clubs with this Mexican band from Monterrey. We were playing like in the most random cities, like Tucson, and we were like they were shaving. There was like this big mirror, and I felt like in this Picasso like cuadro, like in a Picasso painting, like there was the saxophone player like rehearsing, and then somebody was like taking his beard off, like he was shaving. What? And I was like doing my makeup. It was like a crazy scene, and it was like a big mirror, and I just pictured it I made a little doodle on a notepad, and it was pretty crazy. Like just everybody making something different at the same time, and we were like 20 people on the room.
That's very cool.
Oh, I remember something. We were on our way to, I don't remember if it was like Wisconsin or like some random city. And we jumped into a gas station. And there was this super cute lady, like she was an old lady. And she was like, "Hey, you're artist. You gotta sign my jeans." And we're like, "Really?" Like, yeah. And she opened like the Sharpie. Like, I don't really know. Like, she was like, "Hey, all of you're artists. Sign my pants." And we're like, "For real, lady?" I got the picture. But it was on the most... It was, like, in a very isolated city. Like, I don't know. Like, it was such a crazy thing. And she took pictures and everything. And it was like,
That's
oh,
cute.
like... I really felt bad because of her jeans. Like, did you even want my sign there? And
That's okay. She probably sold them on eBay for like 5 times what she paid for. It's good.
She's
Old
gotta
lady's
wait.
fine.
Yeah.
She's gotta wait. They're not gonna give her a lot of money for those jeans yet.
You're like, give me a year.
No, a little bit more, lady, please. That's a lot of pressure.
Ah.
A little bit more.
That's a lot of pressure.
All right. So the next question, your biggest song is probably Dame Love, right? With Cuco. That's probably the biggest hit that you have. Or what would you consider to be the biggest hit?
Pues está casi como Llama. That was like the single that I had on my EP.
Yama was us. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I love Yama too. Okay. You're going to have 7 seconds because we're in this magical number of 7 because of Jack Daniels. You're going to have 7 seconds to sing the most and the fastest of Yama. So I'm going to count you down, and you're going to have 7 seconds. So you, as fast as you can. Yeah.
Look at her face.
No, we've had we've had a bunch of pretty good guests, and they've done it pretty well. So you're in the company of some steep competition. Okay.
I don't even know if I remember the lyrics to my own songs now. I'm in that mood now. But
all right. Well,
let's go.
Here you go. I'm getting ready. Okay. I'm gonna have 7 seconds for you. All right.
Okay.
Ready? All right. 3, 2, 1, go.
Llama antes de irte a dormir, baby, acuérdate de mí. Llama antes de irte a dormir, baby, acuérdate de mí.
Nice.
Time.
There's not a lot of words on the chorus.
That was good.
That was
pretty good.
That was good. All right. Okay. No,
was good.
that was good. That was good. 7 seconds. That was muy bien. Muy bien.
Okay.
Muy bien.
I'll rehearse so we can repeat.
Okay.
And then I'm going to be very, very good at it.
All right. So this is the 7th and last question. And what's interesting about this question is that this question was made by our last guest. So our last guest was Enjambre, a huge rock en español band from Mexico. And their question was, by the way, they did not know it was for you. If you could go to the future, when and where would you go and why?
And then I have to come back to the present.
Optional.
If you want.
I would like to go like probably when my lineage ends. Like if I have kids and grandsons, like cuando no pueda encontrarme a nadie que viene de mi familia, ahí me gustaría porque it would be very fucked up to just like come back maybe and to see if I did good. Like if they have some characteristics of myself and some like family trauma, you know. I don't know. Future is so uncertain now.
Girl, I think that's a great answer.
Yeah.
That's a phenomenal answer.
Yeah.
Very well thought out.
That's
yeah,
good.
imagine.
Yeah, that would be fucked up. Like seeing your eyes in like probably 10 generations after, that would be crazy. Like,
That's a great answer.
Yeah.
Kudos.
Bravo.
See,
Muy bien,
so
muy
now
bien.
you get a
Gracias.
chance to leave a question for our next guest.
Well, I have a game, like a question game with my friends. And there's a question that I love. Like, if you were riding a car, if there was a car, where would you be seated? Like, ¿irías manejando, irías de copiloto, o irías atrás?
Ooh, that's cool.
Yeah, we got a couple of those questions in my friends.
That's kind of like if you're in an airplane, are you an aisle, a middle, or a window seat person? So, but now you get to answer your own question. Where would you be sitting in that car?
The chauffeur. I feel like, I would be driving the car.
The pasajero.
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah, I had a feeling you would answer that.
See, I like that. It comes back to this take charge thing. I'm in control.
Si estuviera de copiloto, I would be giving very shitty directions.
But you would be in control of the radio.
Oh, yeah, definitely. But can share. I really like to listen to other people's music. I can do also.
All right. So now I know if we ever get in a car together, you have to drive. Now I know.
Like, como dato, I don't know how to drive.
Oh, never mind.
Never
You're not
mind.
driving.
And
Never mind.
I have a license. So I can drive if you want. I have a license, but I don't know how to drive.
That's funny.
I don't know. Yeah, no, I don't know.
No, but everybody's safe. Like I don't have a car. I don't own a car. I just take myself like by Uber or walking, so everybody's safe.
That's funny. You're like, I would drive. I don't know how to drive,
If
but
I
I
knew
would
how
drive.
Metaphorically speaking, metaphorically, I would drive
Right.
a car.
There you go. That counts. That counts. All right. Well, thanks so much, guys, for sticking around with us and paying attention. Now it's your time. We're opening up the room, the virtual room, for you guys to ask questions. Así que si tienen alguna pregunta en español o en inglés,
Tírenlas.
let us know. Guillermo from our team of Pili, Raul La Musica will be calling out who will be making those questions from the audience. We're opening this up to a Q&A.
Vámonos.
Gustavo, the winner of the night.
Nice.
So you mentioned R&B, you mentioned 80s, but I never heard you mention what were your major influences in R&B and in the 80s.
I really like Raul mentioned, Tony Braxton, and I really love what Erykah Badu in the 90s, what Michael Jackson did with New Jack Swing, like all that Michael era. I really I resemble a lot to that. Bobby Brown, I really love Bobby Brown. I don't know, these are like my major influences from the 80s, and also Prince.
I really love that you said that you like having conversation with strangers, and you mentioned even having maybe a few give you inspiration to a song. Can you think of one stranger conversation that was epic?
It wasn't particularly on a stranger. Like, it was an artist friend that I met the same day. I'm not gonna say his name, but it was very fucking magical. Like, he was the same sign and the same rising as me, and it was just like boom. Like, everybody makes sense. I was feeling on like mirroring myself, and I've never seen him again. Like, we just talked for hours, and then he took a flight to a festival, and it all ended there. But it was a very inspiring moment.
So now we have Roberto. Roberto, ¿qué es tu pregunta, Roberto?
The question is, what's the last song that you have on repeat on your phone? La última canción que hayas tenido en loop en tu teléfono escuchando.
La última canción. I'm just gonna open my phone because I've been listening because I've been making like home improvement right now, and I really love the Sims 1 soundtrack, the game soundtrack, and I just repeat that album over and over again. And the last one was I was revisiting Deftones.
Oh,
Good one.
Digital. I was listening to Digital Bath like 10 times this week.
I really didn't expect that answer, but wow.
Yeah, I love the 80s and everything, but I really love like listening to Korn and like to a lot of industrial music and techno and house. Like I in my heart I'm a very dark person.
you mentioned you're very dark and you like a lot of the industrial stuff, but I saw that you like Robin S. and like kind of like very kind of uplifting house music, and of course she has anthems like Show Me Love, Love for Love that speak about like happiness and joy and dancing.
I'm really into house music and club music, and especially when all those universes, like especially like R&B melodies combine with house music, and all of these divas, like you say, Robin S. and Crystal Waters, and I don't know, I really love UK garage also. So I'm also a DJ, a pretty decent DJ, I might say, and I
right,
really
we're gonna
love
battle.
to. Yeah, yes, for sure. And
I will lose.
Yeah, for sure. No. No. I feel like.
See, you tell me I'm gonna lose at DJing. Pili tells me I'm gonna lose at tennis.
But it's not a competition. It's not a competition. They're just back to back.
It is a competition with us, though.
No, okay, cool. You're a DJ. Excellent. Didn't know that. Awesome. So yeah, and you're a househead. Love it.
Okay, Chris C is saying, I'm raising my hand, so let's go to Chris C.
Hola chicos, mi pregunta es demasiado random, like, si fueras una fruta, ¿cuál serías?
Si fuera una fruta, I feel like I would be, no sé si se llama así también allá, pero lychee. Ajá, because I feel like I got a lot of spikes, and my personality might be a little bit frightening because I got some kind of resting bitch face sometimes. And when you open it, it's a pretty juicy, nice texture, you know? And I feel like I would be a lychee.
That was a fun question.
Yeah.
That was a super fun answer.
Yo tengo una pregunta, girl.
Dime.
La portada de tu disco Nuevos Aires me encanta. Creo que le da, o sea, de verdad, un toque a todo lo que hiciste en él, ¿no? Lo que imprimiste. Esa pintura fue en base a alguna presentación que tuviste o de dónde surgió esa pintura.
Pues un amigo de acá de la ciudad que es pintor, que se llama Raúl, siempre me ha gustado mucho su pintura. Mi mejor amigo de, like, from high school, de la prepa, siempre me pasaba pintores de que, mira, él está en tu ciudad, mira, él también es pintor, se llama Luis Fernando, shout out. Y me pasó este amigo de él y justo yo estaba buscando para el álbum hacer una pintura un poco realista. Me gusta mucho lo que hace Johnny Mitchell con sus portadas. O sea, es una artista a la que me he sentido muy conectada siempre. Y nada, o sea, fue como un clash de ideas, de referencias de Johnny Mitchell y unas fotos mías. Y en realidad lo dejé, o sea, este fue un ejercicio muy bueno para mi control sobre las cosas. Le di todas las referencias al pintor y no me enseñó nada, no habló conmigo. Y unos días antes de tener que subir el álbum me mandó la pintura y me enamoré de ella. Y dije, esta es, ya no le quise cambiar nada.
Ok, muchas gracias.
Muchas gracias, Evelyn, y qué bien se te ve esa playera. Gracias.
Gracias a todos por participar. Un último comentario de Gustavo. Dice, Girl Ultra, for that story about the artist you never saw again, check out a movie called Before Sunrise and Before Sunset.
Okay.
Si aún no la has visto. Dice, very much like your story.
I might cry. It was a very
Intense.
strong... Yeah, it's very intense. It was very,
Ya
very
sabe,
intense.
Before Sunrise and Before Sunset.
Nice.
All right.
Cool.
I'm just gonna watch
now
it.
we're
Thank
seeing
you.
all kinds of questions come up in the chat. Like,
Yeah.
you know, are you ever gonna make like a 90s house track that has like a
Ooh.
90s house beat or anything
Ooh.
like that?
Like 90s house.
I know.
I'm gonna keep it to myself, but I'm cooking.
Ooh,
Okay.
I like it.
We like cooking. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah,
That's good.
cooking's good.
Yeah, I'm seeing a bunch of. Would you ever go on tour with Rafael Sadiq since he was in Tony?
Oh,
That would be pretty awesome.
that would be amazing.
Rafael Sadiq that guy's amazing. Nan, thank you so much. I mean, this has been absolutely amazing to have you and tell your story and learn more about you. So thank you for everything you do and everything that's coming in the future, because we know you're a bright star that's going to have
Thank
so
you.
much more to offer in years to come.
Gracias, en serio.
Who knew that the R&B movement was so big coming out of Mexico? And Girl Ultra, she was a lot of fun.
She was so cool. I was a fan before interviewing her, but now I'm an uber fan. Y recuerda también que tú puedes ser parte de estos eventos súper especiales que hacemos una vez al mes gracias a Jack Daniels presenta Pili, Raúl en la Música Virtual. Todos los meses platicamos con tus artistas favoritos de la música latina. En un Zoom call de todas partes del mundo sintonizan los fanáticos de estos artistas. Tú le puedes hacer preguntas a ellos mientras también escuchas la entrevista que le hacemos Raúl y yo. Y por supuesto también they perform. So, todo esto es gratis. Simplemente tienes que seguirnos a través de los medios sociales, especialmente Instagram, Pili y Raúl en la música, para más información sobre nuestros monthly virtual events thanks to Jack Daniels. We want you to be on our next one.
Absolutely. And so big thanks going to Jack Daniels, Shure Microphones, Ulises, el licenciado Lozano from the band Kinky for our super duper amazing theme song. And we will catch you on another episode very, very soon. Okay, bye.
Ciao.